His studio lights blazed down like a spotlight on a heavyweight title fight, casting sharp dramatic shadows across the polished hardwood stage of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert as chaos exploded with a sound that shook the Ed Sullivan Theater to its very foundation. J.D. Vance, the 40-year-old Vice President of the United States, fresh off the triumphant 2025 Trump-Vance election victory, slammed his fist on the desk with a thunderous bang that reverberated through the packed auditorium. The noise bounced off the high walls like a cannon shot echoing through a canyon, a sound so forceful it seemed to rattle the bones of every soul in the room. His face flushed a deep, furious crimson. Veins pulsed at his temples like live wires sparking under strain. He roared at host Stephen Colbert, with a voice that carried the raw, unfiltered fury of a man who'd fought his way from the Rust Belt to the White House. "You're tearing my life's work apart like it's some cheap late-night punchline, Stephen, and I won't stand for it. Not for one damn second. You're crossing a line, a massive one. I'm done with your elitist Trump-hating smug nonsense. You and your coastal cronies have no clue what we're building." The audience gasped in unison. A collective shockwave surged through the tightly packed seats. Some leapt to their feet with wild, frenzied cheers that shook the air. "Yeah, J.D., rip 'em apart." Fists punched upward in a chaotic salute of defiance. Others booed with equal vigor. "Boo, get the hell out of here, Vance." Their voices collided in a roaring cacophony that rattled the theater's iconic rafters, a sound so intense it seemed the walls themselves might buckle under the pressure. The glowing New York skyline backdrop shimmered behind them. Its golden hues pulsed and danced with the escalating tension, amplifying the raw electric intensity until the air buzzed with a palpable heat that threatened to ignite into flames at any moment. Stephen Colbert, 60, with short dark hair streaked with gray that caught the light like threads of silver, sat behind his polished oak desk in a tailored gray suit that hugged his frame. White shirt crisp as fresh snow, red tie bold as a warning flag, leaned back in his chair with a smirk that blended sharp comedic wit with a venomous edge, a predator's grin that hinted at the sting to come. "Tearing apart J.D.?" he fired back, voice thick with cutting sarcasm that sliced through the chaotic noise like a blade through silk. No, I'm just peeling back the layers. Your Hillbilly Elegy's a rusty old sob story you polished up to ride Trump's coattails to the VP slot, pretending you're rural America's knight in shining armor while you sip coffee with billionaires like Elon Musk. That's not grit, my friend, it's a slick grift wrapped in flannel. The audience erupted once more. A wild, messy storm of shock and excitement swept through the rows like a tidal wave. "Stephen's on fire." J.D. hit him back. Some clapped loudly for Stephen's razor-sharp jab. Hands slapped together in sharp, rhythmic bursts that echoed through the space. Others shouted Vance's name in fierce, unyielding defiance. Their cries rose like a battle anthem over the swelling chaos, a chant that pulsed with the energy of a rally in full swing. Producers scrambled backstage, barely visible behind the heavy red curtains that framed the stage. Headsets crackled with urgent, overlapping whispers that betrayed their rising panic. "He's unraveling out there. Do we cut to commercial right now?" "No way, this is pure unfiltered gold. Keep those cameras rolling. This is live TV history in the making." The live feed held steady as a rock, beamed every heated word, every flare of anger to millions watching at home. Eyes glued to their screens, pulses racing as the explosive showdown unfolded live before them. A spectacle so gripping, they couldn't tear themselves away from the raw intensity of it all. Who's winning this round, folks? Let's get that chat popping. We're just getting started here. Just minutes earlier, J.D. Vance had strode onto the stage with a steady, purposeful gait that exuded the confidence of a man who'd earned his stripes. His polished dress shoes clicked against the hardwood floor like the steady beat of a soldier's march. His presence filled the theater like a storm cloud rolling in over the horizon, heavy with intent and unyielding resolve. Dressed in a dark blue suit that fit him like a second skin, white shirt open at the collar in a nod to his Ohio roots. No tie to signal he wasn't here for DC pomp. his short brown hair neatly combed back from a day spent juggling Senate votes and White House briefings. He flashed a tight, controlled smile to the crowd, a gesture that carried the weight of a Marine vet turned vice president, a man who'd sworn his oath on January 20th, 2025, under Justice Brett Kavanaugh's steady gaze, with Donald Trump grinning beside him. The audience greeted him with a mixed roar that shook the seats. JD! JD! Hands waved high in welcome from the Trump faithful. Some hissed low from the skeptics. He settled into the guest chair with a posture that said he'd faced worse than a late-night host's barbs. His back straight, his eyes sharp, ready for the fray. He expected a lively chat, maybe some pointed jabs about his rapid rise from Senate to VP or his past criticisms of Trump in 2016, calling him America's Hitler, before burying the hatchet to join the ticket, a chance to defend rural America, his bond with Trump, and the Hillbilly Elegy story that had propelled him here. But Stephen had other plans, ambushed him from the opening bell with a barbed quip that landed like a Molotov cocktail in a dry field. So JD, you wrote this weepy little book about hillbillies scraping by. Now you're Trump's VP after trashing him as Hitler back in 16. What's the hustle here? You milking small-town pain for power, or just kissing Don's ring to climb the ladder after all that big talk? The quip hit hard. Stephen's playful tone masked a razor-sharp sting that cut through the room like a whip crack, set the audience abuzz with a mix of reactions that rippled through the seats. Some chuckled nervously. Oh, he went straight for the jugular. Hands fidgeted in their laps as the tension spiked. Others murmured low, heads tilted toward neighbors, eyes widened with anticipation, sensed a brawl brewing on the horizon, a clash that could set the night ablaze with fireworks of fury and wit. JD forced a tight, strained smile, kept his composure at first like a seasoned fighter sizing up an opponent, leaned into the mic with a voice as steady as tempered steel. Not milking Stephen, amplifying hillbilly elegies about people you and your elite crowd forgot. Ignored for decades, I'm fighting for them now with President Trump, not kissing rings. We're making America great again. Rebuilding what you've mocked. You wouldn't get that from your cushy Manhattan tower. You've never stepped foot in the dirt I came from. His words carried a quiet fire that burned deep. Hands gestured firmly to underline his point, painting a picture of rusted towns and resilient souls. A man forged in the crucible of struggle, now standing beside Trump to lift them up. But Stephen wasn't letting it slide. His grin widened into something predatory as he leaned forward over the desk, elbows planted like he was ready to pounce. Fighting, huh? Sounds like a nice flip from hating Trump to riding his wave, turning sob stories into votes. Shining your halo while Doan tweets, I'm not buying your Heartland hero act, JD. It's too polished for me. The audience gasped louder, a ripple of tension spread like wildfire through the theater. JD's smile dropped fast, jaw clenched tight, eyes flared with a spark of anger as his hands twitched at his sides. The stage was primed, the fuse lit for a confrontation that would grip viewers with the stakes of rural pride versus urban scorn. Trump's shadow looming large over every word, a battle that promised to leave the crowd buzzing long after the lights dimmed. Stephen leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms with a casual swagger that belied the predatory glint in his eyes, savored the murmur rippling through the crowd as he watched. JD's reaction like a chess master eyeing a critical move in a high-stakes game. Let's rewind a bit, JD, he said, voice smooth but edged with a taunt that hung heavy in the air like smoke before a fire. You roll in here all earnest and upright, acting like rural America's spokesman with a Bible in one hand and Trump's playbook in the other. But let's peel back the curtain. Hillbilly Elegy's a dusty old tale you've dusted off for the cameras. You're Trump's lapdog now after years of trashing him. What's the endgame here? Selling out Ohio for a DC penthouse with a view? Or just shining Trump's boots to keep that VP gig warm after all those Hitler jabs you threw back in the day? The audience buzzed louder, a swell of sound that filled the theater. Some laughed sharp and quick. Ha, he's got him pinned. Others leaned forward in their seats, hands clasped tight, waited for JD's counter with bated breath. The air grew thick with anticipation, a coiled spring ready to snap loose at any moment. GD shifted in his seat, uncrossed his legs with a deliberate motion, sat up straighter, forced his posture to stay steady even as his hands flexed slightly at his sides, betrayed the storm brewing beneath his calm exterior. "Endgame, Stephen?" he said, voice firm but carried a low, dangerous undercurrent that rumbled through the microphone like distant thunder. "It's not selling out, it's standing up. Those folks in Ohio, in Kentucky, in every forgotten corner are my blood, my family. Elegy's their voice, not some prop. I'm with President Trump to fix what you and your elitist pals broke over decades, not shining boots. We're rebuilding America from the ground up. Bringing jobs back, hope back. You'd miss that entirely from your fancy bubble up here. You've never had to fight for a damn thing in your life." The crowd split wide open. Some cheered with gusto that echoed off the walls. "That's right, JD, tell it like it is." Others jeered back with equal force. "Oh, come on, get real, you flip-flopper." The tension coiled tighter, a live wire sparked in the dim light, ready to flare into something unstoppable that would light up the night. Stephen tilted his head, feigned puzzlement with a dramatic squint that drew a few chuckles from the front rows. "Standing up, huh? Real noble, real tearjerker stuff, Oscar-worthy even. But I've got a hunch it's more about ambition, yours specifically, shining bright like a polished belt buckle. You're the guy with the book deal and the Senate seat and now the VP badge, hitched to Trump's wagon after calling him a disaster. A Hitler, no less. What happens when rural America's still broke and you're golfing with Doan at Mar-a-Lago, sipping wine with lobbyists while they're still scraping by?" He waved a hand with theatrical flair, pulled up a mock image on the giant screen behind him that loomed over the stage. A cartoon JD in a slick suit standing next to Trump in his red hat, both grinning wide with a crumbling barn and a rusted tractor in the background. "Your ticket up, pal," Stephen said. Smirked wide enough to show teeth, voice dripping with mockery. "So convince us, sell us hard. Why should we buy your savior act when it looks like you've traded overalls for a power tie?" The audience murmured. A mix of gasps and nervous chuckles rippled through the rows. "Oh snap, that's savage." Some shouted from the back. "Answer that, JD. Come on, man, give us something." Jade's eyes flicked to the screen for a split second, snapped back to Stephen with a flash of steel in his gaze. His voice hardened into a cutting edge that sliced through the noise. "You're spinning it again, Stephen. That's a cheap cartoon, not the truth. I'm not trading anything. I'm grinding for them. Elegy's real pain, not a prop. It's the story of folks you've never met. Oh, what? President Trump saw my fight and said, let's do this. We're lifting them up together. Bringing factories back, not sipping wine. Unlike you mocking it like a coastal snob who's never left this concrete jungle. Chasing claps from your rich buddies who wouldn't know a hard day's work if it punched them in the face." The crowd roared, split down the middle like a cracked mirror. JD's got heart. Stephen's frying him alive. Some clapped loud for JD's fiery pushback. Hands pounded in rhythm like a drumline at a rally. Others egged Stephen on with shouts that pierced the air. "Keep it coming, Stephen. Don't let up." Producers backstage swapped frantic looks. One muttered into his headset with a voice tight with nerves, "He's baiting him hard. Is this getting too far?" Another grinned wide, leaned back with a gleam in his eye. "No, this is dynamite. Let it burn. Ratings are soaring through the roof. We're breaking records tonight." Stephen laughed, a quick, sharp bark that cut through the rising clamor like a whip. "Coastal snob? Ouch, JD, that cuts deep, right to the bone. But let's talk grinding. You're peddling a sob story like it's gospel, turned it into a golden ticket with Trump's blessing. What if it's just nostalgia, a dusty old yarn that leaves your people with nothing but a book and a fancy title while you're hobnobbing with Don's billionaire crew?" He leaned forward over the desk, elbows slammed down with a thud that punctuated his words. Eyes locked on JD with a daring glint that practically begged him to crack under the weight of the jab. His smirk grew sharper. Come on, Mr. Vice President. Give me something real, not that rehearsed Heartland script. The audience held its breath. The theater hummed with electric energy that pulsed through the seats. Every ear tuned to the next shot in this escalating war of words. Every eye glued to the stage as the stakes climbed higher with each passing second. Trump's name hanging in the air like a specter over the fight. Who's feeling this heat right now? Drop a fire emoji in the comments if Steven's got JD sweating bullets. Let's see those flames light up the screen. GD straightened in his chair, uncrossed his legs with a slow, deliberate move, planted both feet firm on the floor as he leaned into the mic. Voice rose with a controlled fury that rolled out like a gathering storm. Nostalgia, Steven? It's reality I lived. I've got the scars to prove it. The calluses from working those hills. Trump saw that fight in me, said JD. You're my guy. We're saving towns you've never even driven through, not hobnobbing. We're bringing jobs back, real jobs, steel jobs, coal jobs. While you sling elitist digs like a talk show clown who's never had to hustle for a paycheck. You want to talk nothing? Look at your bits. They're fluff, empty fluff, and you're the fluffiest damn thing on this stage. The crowd exploded. Some cheered with wild abandon that shook the seats. Burn, Steven, burn. Others jeered back with equal venom. Oh snap, he flipped it on him. The energy surged. A tidal wave of sound crashed through the theater. Engagement hit a fever pitch that seemed to lift the roof. The clash between Vance's gritty resolve and Colbert's polished scorn reaching a boiling point. Steven sensed the fire blazing in JD's eyes, leaned in closer over the desk, pounced like a predator closing in on a cornered foe. His tone sharpened into a blade that cut through the noise. Saving towns, JD, or staging a show for the cameras? I've heard whispers that Elegy's just a prop, a tearjerker you spun into a Trump ticket. Is that your legacy, using Rust Belt pain to shine next to Doan? Or are you just playing the loyal VP while he tweets about winning? The audience murmured. A low hum of unease rippled through the packed seats. Some clapped for Steven's boldness. Yeah, call him out, Steven. Others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Eyes darted between the two men, waited for the counterpunch that could blow the roof off the theater and send shockwaves through the night. GD's eyes narrowed to slits. A storm brewed behind them as he locked onto Steven. Voice roared out with a force that filled the room. Staging, Steven? I live that pain every damn day. Elegy's the truth of folks you've never met. Trump and I are in the trenches with them. Not props, we're rebuilding what you and your ilk tore down with your trade deals and your sneers. You wouldn't know struggle if it kicked you in the teeth. You're a privileged clown sitting pretty while we sweat. The crowd split wide open. Cheers rose loud for JD's defiance. Tell him JD said it straight. Jeers egged Steven on with equal fervor. Get him, Steven, don't let up. The theater thickened with a raw, pulsating energy that felt like a thunderstorm about to unleash its full fury, the air crackling with the weight of the moment. Producers hovered backstage. Headsets buzzed with frantic, overlapping chatter that betrayed their rising adrenaline. He's going hard, this is way off the rails. Keep it rolling, ratings are spiking through the ceiling. This is must-see TV. No one dared cut the feed. The live chaos too magnetic, too alive to stop. Every second a potential viral clip in the making. Steven smirked, a glint of mischief sparked in his eyes as he leaned back slightly, pulled up a clip on the giant screen behind him with a flourish that drew gasps. Let's take a peek at JD's so-called truth, shall we? He said, sarcasm heavy as stone as the dramatized scene played out for all to see. A young boy in tattered rags stood in a muddy field. Trump's voice boomed from a golden hill in the background. JD's my guy, we're winning big. The clip cut to a cartoon Vance bowing to Trump as factories rusted behind. The audience laughed, gasped, shouted in a messy chorus. Oh, that's brutal. Show him, Steven. Some cheered Steven's point with gusto. Hands clapped loud in approval. Others groaned at the over-the-top exaggeration. That's fake as hell, come on. Voices overlapped in a rising tide of reaction. Jade's face reddened. A flush crept up his neck and stained his cheeks like a wildfire spreading. Hands gripped his chair so tight the wood creaked under the strain. Knuckles whitened as he snapped back with a voice that growled low and fierce. "That's a cheap shot, Stephen. You're twisting my life into a damn cartoon for laughs. Trump and I are rebuilding America, bringing back jobs, steel mills, hope, not laughing from some golden hill. You're the joke here. You and your smug little screen, mocking people who'd spit in your face if they met you." Stephen didn't flinch. His grin turned icy as he leaned closer, elbows slammed back onto the desk. "Rebuilding or rebranding, JD? I've got folks saying you're Trump's puppet now, dancing to his tune after all that Hitler talk. Are you just a prop in his circus, bowing while he takes the applause?" The audience gasped louder. A wave of noise crashed through the theater like a breaker on a rocky shore. Some shouted, "Go Stephen!" In raucous support, voices overlapped in a rising chant that filled the space. Others yelled, "Fight back, JD!" As the theater crackled with heat, the air grew thick with anticipation. Every breath held for the next move in this escalating war. Producers debated cutting to a break. Voices rose in a frantic pitch. "This is wild, we can't control it anymore." "No, it's gold, let it roll or live, and it's electric." The feed held steady, every moment locked in tight, unscripted and raw as the clash intensified to a fever pitch. JD leaned forward, voice rose with a fierce intensity that cut through the din like a blade through flesh. "Puppet Stephen? I'm a damn Marine. I fight for real. Trump trusts me because I've been in the mud. We're fixing what you and your liberal pals broke. Trade deals that gutted us. You're a smug hack who's never left this stage. You mock while we work. I won't let your cheap shots bury what we're building." Stephen's eyes flashed with glee, sensed he'd struck a nerve deep and raw, leaned back with a taunt that dripped with provocation. "Trust, huh? After you called him Hitler, now you're VP. I've got your own words. Let's hear the real JD." He played a soundbite with a tap of his finger. JD's voice from 2016 echoed through the speakers loud and clear. "Trump's America's Hitler. He's a disaster. We can't let him win." The crowd reacted. Shock rippled through the rows like a jolt. "Whoa, he said that." Laughter bubbled up from the back. "Oh, he's cooked now." Murmurs grew into a hum. Tension boiled over like a pot left too long on a blazing stove. Steam hissed in the air. GD's fists clenched tighter. Voice a growl that rumbled low and fierce. "You're digging up old dirt, Stephen. I was wrong then. Trump proved me wrong with results. We're winning now. Fixing towns. You're twisting it for laughs. You're the clown here, not me. You've got no guts." Stephen grinned wider, leaned back in his chair with a taunt that oozed venom. "Proved you wrong, huh? Sounds like a flip-flop to me, JD. Maybe you're the one with no guts. Bowing the dome after all that big talk. What's next? Shining his golf clubs." The audience roared, split like a fault line cracking wide. Some chanted, "Stephen's got him." In a fevered rhythm, others shouted, "JD stand strong." The live clash spiraled into a full-on war of words, a battlefield of grit versus guile. Trump's name a lightning rod in every exchange, viewers at home hooked on every stinging jab, every fiery retort. The stakes climbed higher with every passing second, as the theater pulsed with raw, unbridled energy. The showdown hit its blistering peak as Stephen landed a brutal final blow. Voice cut sharp and unrelenting through the swelling chaos like a knife through butter. "So JD, you claim you're saving folks with Trump. The big hero duo, but you flipped from calling him Hitler to VP. Maybe you're the con here. Cashing in on pain while Doan tweets about winning. Fix your own spine before preaching to us, Mr. Vice President. Because I'm not sure America's buying this act when you're just Trump's shadow playing dress-up." GD surged to his feet, face blazed with unchecked rage that burned like a wildfire out of control. Slammed the desk with a crack that echoed like a gunshot through the theater, the sound so loud it seemed to shake the lights overhead. "I'm no con, Stephen. I'm a damn fighter. Trump and I are real. We're the backbone of this country. I won't let you smear us with your elitist trash. You're out of line. Way out. I'm done with this crap. You're a disgrace." The crowd erupted like a volcano bursting wide open. Some chanted, "Stephen! Stephen!" in a fevered rhythmic pulse that pulsed through the seats. "Finish him off!" Others roared, "JD!" with equal fire. "Don't back down!" As security rushed in from the wings, 2 guards in black uniforms charged the stage, grabbed JD's arms with firm, practiced grips that brooked no nonsense. He thrashed against them, muscles strained under his suit jacket. Boots scuffed the floor in defiance. "Let me go, I'll walk myself. I don't need this garbage dragging me down one more second." Stephen stood tall behind the desk, arms crossed tight, smirked coldly as he called out over the din with a voice that dripped with mockery. "Run off, JD, your Trump act's a flop, a big fat zero. Take your hillbilly tail and go shine Don's shoes somewhere else." JD stormed off, suit rumpled from the struggle, fury etched deep in every line of his face like a battle scar. His heavy boots pounded the stage like hammer strikes as he disappeared into the wings. The live feed caught every second of the exit. "He's out. Stephen wins." Viewers at home sat breathless. Pulses pounded hard. The theater shook with the aftershocks of his departure. A seismic shift in the night's energy that left the air buzzing with static. Backstage, JD stormed through the narrow corridors, his breath heavy, fists clenched tight enough to crack walnuts, pushed past startled crew members into a cluttered green room, slammed the door shut with a bang that rattled the frame, turned to his team with a snarl. "Stephen's gonna pay for this. He crossed a line, a massive one. Trump's fuming too. We're not letting this slide." His aides circled him. One pulled out a phone. "Ex-post now, sir. Hit him hard." Another grabbed a laptop. "Call the president. Sync up fast." JD yanked his phone from his pocket. Dialed Trump with a growl. "Mr. President, they're trashing us out there. Stephen's a snake. I say we go live. Hit him where it hurts. Show him what we're made of." Trump's voice boomed through, brash and loud. "Damn right, JD. They're scared of us. Little Stevie is a lightweight. Let's bury him. You're my VP for a reason. Tough as nails. We'll make him eat their words." JD nodded sharp. "We're on it, sir. They won't know what hit him. We'll turn this into our win, big time." His resolve hardened like steel. Eyes burned with a plan taking shape. He barked to his team. "Get Fox on the line. Prep a statement. We're going live tonight." Later that night, JD didn't head home. He steered his black SUV toward a gritty DC dive bar. Neon sign flickering, the Patriots tap in red, white, and blue. Tires crunched gravel as he pulled into the lot. Stepped out into the cool April air. Suit still rumpled, tie long gone. His breath visible in short, sharp puffs. Inside, the bar hummed with late-night energy. Wood-paneled walls lined with Trump 2024 flags. A jukebox crooned Merle Haggard. Patrons in trucker hats and work boots turned as he entered. "Holy hell, it's the VP. JD legend." He waved, strode to a corner booth where a dozen supporters waited, beers in hand. "Saw you on Colbert, man. You gave it to him." One said, slapping the table, "Trump's gotta be proud." JD slid in, grabbed a bottle from the center. "Damn right he is. Stephen's a punk. We're not done yet." His phone buzzed. "Trump again. JD, you at that bar?" "Good. Rally the troops. I'm pissed. We're hitting back tonight." JD grinned. "Already on it, sir. These folks are fired up. We're planning now." He raised his beer. "To America. To Trump. We fight." The group cheered. "Hell yeah." Clinked bottles. A burly guy in a camo cap leaned in. "Stephen's a jackass. What's the play?" Jade's eyes gleamed. "We go live, me and Trump. Show 'em rural America's not a joke. We're bringing it back." They brainstormed. Voices overlapped. "Hit X. Get Hannity." JD typed a quick post. "Stephen thinks we're done. He's wrong. Trump and I are just starting. Watch us." Likes surged. JD's a beast. He left the bar after midnight, adrenaline pumping. Led his team to a 24-hour diner down the street. Neon open sign buzzing. Slid into a cracked vinyl booth. Coffee steaming. Aides spread papers. "We need a counterstrike big. Bold." JD said, "Trump's in. We go live from Ohio tomorrow. Factories, real people." An aide nodded. "Fox'll eat it up, X2. JD sipped. "Steven's smug face won't last. We're turning this into our moment." The diner hummed. Waitresses peeked. "That's the VP." JD grinned. "Folks, we're not just fighting, we're winning." What's JD plotting? Drop your guesses in the comments. This is heating up. The bar's neon glow faded as JD Vance and his crew spilled out into the night. Boots crunching gravel. Air thick with the scent of spilled beer and determination. Their voices still buzzing from the impromptu rally at the Patriots' tap. JD's phone vibrated hard in his pocket. Trump's name flashed. He answered quick. "Mr. President, we've got the base fired up. They're ready. What's next?" Trump's voice roared through, brash as ever. "JD, you're a killer. Those folks love us. We're going live tomorrow, Ohio. Show 'em what we've got. Steven's a dead man walking." JD grinned. "On it, sir. We're hitting the Rust Belt factories, real people. They'll see." He hung up, turned to his team. "We're not just fighting back, we're taking over. Trump's all in." The group nodded. "Let's do this." Adrenaline pulsed. They piled into SUVs. Engines growled as they sped toward their next move. A counterstrike brewing hotter than the bar's jukebox. JD and Trump are flipping it. "Folks, drop a comment. What's your bet on this comeback?" Next morning, JD touched down in Ohio. Chopper blades still spinning as he stepped onto a factory lot. Rust-streaked steel beams loomed behind him. Workers in hard hats gathered, their faces weathered, eyes sharp with hope. He grabbed a megaphone, voice steady. "President Trump gave me this shot, saw my fight. We're bringing jobs back right here. Steel jobs, good jobs. Steven's never seen this grit, never smelled this rust. He mocks from his tower. We build from the ground, UP." The crowd erupted. "JD, Trump!" Voices rough with pride. Some waved MAGA hats, others held signs. "Vance fights for us." Phones flashed, video streamed live to X, racked up millions of views fast. "He's real. This is why we voted Trump Vance." Trump patched in via speaker. "JD's my hammer, folks. We're crushing it. Steven's a nobody. We're bringing it back, big league." The tide turned hard. Cheers drowned Steven's jab. JD paced the lot. Shook hands. "We're not props, we're people." A worker yelled, "Tell MVP." Back in New York, Steven's team watched the feed, jaws tight. A writer groaned. "He's outgunning us. Trump's amplifying it. We're toast." Producers nodded grim. "Underestimated him. He's a force. With Trump, he's a damn hurricane." Steven stayed cool on air that night. JD's got Trump, preaching to the choir. Good for them. I've got laughs. But the crowd's chuckle was weak. Spotlight swung to Vance and Trump, left Steven grasping at shadows. X roasted. "Colbert's hiding. JD and Trump own this." The gap widened. Vance's fire burned brighter. JD leaned into the momentum, met Trump's strategist in a Columbus diner. Vinyl seats creaked, coffee steamed. "We go bigger," JD said. "Rural tour, live events, Trump's on board." The strategist grinned. "Fox'll eat it up. X2 Steven's done." JD's phone buzzed. "Trump again. JD, you're killing it. Let's hit every state. They'll beg for mercy." JD laughed. "They're already choking, sir. We've got this." The plan solidified. A blitz to bury Steven's snark in dust and steel. Smash that like if JD's taking over, folks. This is getting wild. The diner's neon buzzed as JD sketched out the vision, napkin scribbled with notes. "We start a rural revival, schools, jobs, factories, Trump's full backing. Make it real. Shove it in Steven's face." His chief of staff nodded. "That's you, JD, turning heat into hope. I'm in." Trump called. "JD, you genius. I've got the cash. You've got the guts. Let's roll. Heartland revival. They'll love it." JD grinned. "We're not just talking, we're doing. Steven can laugh. We deliver." They hashed it out. Late night grease and coffee fueling the fire. Ohio first, then Kentucky, Pennsylvania. JD said, "Real faces, real wins." Next day, JD stood in the Toledo school gym, Trump beside him on a jumbo screen. Kids waved flags, parents packed the bleachers. "This is for you," JD boomed. "Trump and I are building futures, schools, jobs. Stephen's out of touch. We're in the fight." Trump's voice blasted. "JD's my VP. We're unstoppable. Best team ever." The crowd roared. "Real change," a mom shouted. "For us." 10 lit up. "They're doing it. JD and Trump are legends." Clips hit millions. "This is why he fights." JD mingled, shook hands. "We're not stopping. ... Stephen's studio felt the heat. A producer muttered, "They're stealing the narrative." Stephen quipped on air, "JD and Trump are on tour. I'll stick to jokes." But the laugh was thin, his edge dulled. Jade's fire spread. Trump tweeted, "JD's a beast. Stephen's a ghost." Next night, Stephen faced the camera, lights dim. "All right, folks, I owe JD Vance an apology. Got too hot. Sorry for the mess. Let's move on." Crowd clapped. "About time." JD watched from an Ohio hotel, Trump on speaker. He blinked JD. Trump laughed. "Told ya, we're winners." JD smirked. "He's toast, sir. We're just starting." Stephen caved. "Enough for you? Sound off below." JD and Trump doubled down, toured Rust Belt towns, factories hummed. "This is us," JD said. "Stephen's a spec." Trump roared, "JD's my guy. We're the real deal." Views soared. "They're unbeatable." Stephen faded. No more VP fights. His bite gone. X buzzed. JD flipped it. The Heartland revival took root. JD and Trump hit Kentucky next. A coal town buzzing as they landed, choppers thumping, dust swirling. Miners in Sit Street gear cheered. "JD, Trump." JD grabbed a mic. "We're bringing coal back, jobs back. Stephen's clueless. We're the backbone." Trump strode up. "JD's a warrior. Best VP. We're winning big." The crowd roared. "Damn right." Phones streamed. "This is real." X exploded. "They're saving us." Schools joined in. Kids built mini factory models. Thanks to JD and Trump. A teacher tweeted, pride glowing. Parents rallied. "They're fighting for our future." JD toured a steel mill. Sparks flew. "This is America. Stephen can't touch this." Trump called, "JD, you're a rock star. Keep it rolling." Views hit tens of millions. Legends. Stephen's show pivoted. "JD and Trump are busy. I've got gags," he said. But the crowd's laugh was hollow. His spotlight dimmed. X roasted. "Colbert's a relic. JD's the future." JD grinned at a rally. "Stephen's a memory. We're the now." Months later, towns thrived, factories hummed, kids dreamed big. JD and Trump did this, a worker said, fist raised. X hit billions. Vance turned it around. Clip soared. Epic win. Trump tweeted, "JD's my VP, best ever, Stephen's nothing." JD stood at a Pennsylvania plant. "We're not a joke, we're a force. Trump and I built this." The crowd chanted, "JD, Trump, The clash became legend. JD's win forged in fire. Trump clapped. "My guy's the future." A movement rose, stronger than ever. Stephen's jab a faded echo. The Rust Belt pulsed with life. Schools taught trades. JD and Trump gave us this. X roared. They flipped it. JD reflected at a rally. "Stephen tried to break us. We built back stronger." Trump boomed. "JD's a titan. We're unbeatable." Their legacy cemented, a tale of grit and triumph.
Thank you for watching our channel Modern Stories. If you liked our video, you should subscribe for more amazing videos like this. Have a healthy and happy day. See you in the next one.